With Black Ops 6 right around the corner, I thought it was the perfect time to revisit why the Black Ops series made by Treyarch is so special. In this video, I'm going to dive into each Black Ops game, highlighting what made them brilliant and why we should be excited for Black Ops 6. I'll be going over the campaign, the zombies, and the multiplayer for each game, showcasing why these games are the best in the franchise. Let's get started. The first game in the franchise, Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Just before I start, I won't be spoiling the ending for each game as I know people haven't played it or watched it yet. The main character you play as in the campaign is Alex Mason, a badass CIA operative. The game kicks off with Mason being interrogated about these mysterious numbers.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they broadcast?
I don't know anything about any numbers.
And from there, you're thrown into a whirlwind of intense flashbacks and missions that is told by Mason on the chair. The campaign introduced one of the faces when it comes to characters in Call of Duty, Frank Woods, who returned in Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Cold War. This campaign had epic cinematic moments and action missions. One of my favourite missions from the campaign has to be escaping from Vorkuta prison with Reznov, who was previously in World at War made by Treyarch. This was such an action-packed and intense mission because you started off with a knife and slowly started to get better weapons as you advanced and fought more enemies. The whole escape plan was absolutely crazy. For sure, one of the most memorable Call of Duty campaign missions of all time. Black Ops 1 was Treyarch's second installment of Zombies into the franchise, and it really showed with the improvements and the things that they added into the mode. Zombies introduced a storyline involving characters like Edward Richthofen, Hank Dempsey, Takeo Misaki, and Nikolai Belinsky. I promise you, that was not hard to say. And I can't lie, some of the voice lines were hilarious back in the day.
His portrait's bigger than everyone else's. Must be trying to compensate for something. Hey, player! Drop the chips and get me some ammo!
The story of these characters was unfolded through hidden radio messages, film reels, and Easter eggs within the maps. Each map featured Easter egg quests that required players to solve puzzles, complete specific tasks, and uncover hidden story elements. This allowed players for more things to do and more replayability, and this is when Zombies really started to hit the ground running. Pack-a-Punch was introduced first in World at War, but Black Ops 1 was the first game to have it in all maps, as World at War only had it on one. Specific maps included unique weapons like the Thunder Gun in Kino der Toten and Winter's Howl, as well as new equipment like Gersh Device and Matryoshka dolls. Black Ops 1 laid down the foundation for future Easter eggs in future games, and it also got many more maps through the DLCs. Ah, this main menu is so cool, man. What the hell is this? What the fuck? That main menu music is legendary. Just think about it, you're coming home after a long day of work or school to hop on with the boys. It hits different when you think about it like that. Good times, man. Black Ops 1 Multiplayer is regarded as one of the best of all time. There are many reasons for that. The maps that they had were phenomenal. Great 3-lane maps with the introduction to some of the best ever in Nuketown, Firing Range, Summit, Launch, which I'm surprised has never made a return, and Jungle. The 3-lane map design was partially there in World at War, but was clearly there in most of maps in Black Ops 1, which was clear to see because the maps flowed very well in that game. Wager matches was an awesome feature Black Ops 1 had. It allowed players to wager their call points that they earned, allowing for players to feel rewarded when playing the game. The game modes were One in the Chamber, Sticks and Stones, Gun Game, and Sharpshooter. You could use these call points that you earn to buy attachments, camos, perks, face paint, and so on. It made the game feel rewarding, which is something that we're missing in today's Call of Duty. For example, I mean, I could be playing for a while and I just get very bored very quickly because it feels like I'm not, you know, earning anything like we used to on these older Call of Duties. Black Ops 1 is one of the most balanced Call of Duties of the golden era in Call of Duty. You could use a variety of weapons and still do extremely well. The FAMAS was the best gun in the game, but there were other guns to use, such as the Galil, Commando, MP5K, the AK-74 with rapid fire rounds, which was absolutely broken to be honest, and the sniping, which wasn't easy as it got nerfed after you know, that game. Going from Modern Warfare 2 to Black Ops 1 was such a nice, like, refreshing feeling, going from a game that had so many problems, but it was obviously fun for those problems, but it was nice to get a game that was very balanced and, you know, fair for everyone to play. Having this type of diverse weapon selection to choose from meant that you could do well with any gun and use different guns to suit your playstyle. In today's CODs, it feels like there's one meta, which gets very boring after a while, as you are using the same gun over and over and over and over again. It's a bit of a snooze fest, I'll be honest, man. This is something that we miss massively in today's CODs, but Treyarch still do a solid enough job with balancing weapons. Black Ops 1 kill streaks. Black Ops 1 kill streaks were extremely fun and satisfying to earn. Players could use a variety of good kill streaks to either suit their playstyle or skill level. You could start with a spy plane, which showed players where enemies were on their radar, RCXD, which was first introduced in Black Ops 1 and has been introduced in basically every single Black Ops since, Napalm Strike, Rolling Thunder, Blackbird, Attack Dogs, Gunship, Chopper Gunner, and so on. In today's Call of Duties, since Black Ops 3, it feels like the kill streaks kind of suck, to be honest. I feel like, you know, these kill streaks aren't worth equipping. It's kind of just a waste of time for even that making them because they're pretty bad. But with Black Ops 1, man, you had so many good kill streaks to use and, you know, play around with, which made it fun to change kill streaks regularly. Overall, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 is one of the best Call of Duties of all time because of the game was all around good and it was well balanced with very good maps. The game allowed for players to use diverse class setups because of the different guns and streaks that could be useful to players. The campaign was cinema, and the zombies was a step up from World at War. A lot of people started to realize that maybe Treyarch are on that level of Infinity Ward, if not better, because before Black Ops 1, people were, you know, were on the Infinity Ward train because of games like Modern Warfare 2007 and Modern Warfare 2 2009. So this game really put Treyarch on the map. Call of Duty Black Ops 1 set Treyarch up perfectly with the Black Ops series and will be remembered as one of the best Call of Duties of all time. I'm going back and rewatching what I've said. I keep saying Mendez. I know it's Menendez. My bad. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, most people's favourite Black Ops game in this series. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was set in the future, but also tied into the first Black Ops game, Black Ops 1. You see, the campaign was split into two parts, one in the 1980s and one in the 2020s. In the 1980s storyline, the game focuses on the events of the Cold War connecting to the earlier Black Ops storyline. The main antagonist in the Black Ops game is Raul Mendez. The other timeline, the game shifts to the future where you play as David Mason, the son of Alex Mason, who was in Black Ops 1. Huge spoiler ahead, by the way. Woods, who you play as, aims and takes the shot, which he was told to do by Hudson.
Take the headshot.
What are you looking so smug about? The fuck is going on? What's going on here? No. Mason!
thinking it was Mendez, the main protagonist. Frank Woods shot and killed Mason thinking it was Mendez. In 2025, Mendez's actions have escalated into global crisis. He's become a major threat with access to advanced technology. David Mason seeks revenge for his father's death while also trying to stop Raul Mendez's plans for global destruction. Black Ops 2's campaign was one of the best campaigns we've ever had. Call of Duty Black Ops 2's campaign featured multiple endings in its campaign, making it unique to the series and the first ever campaign to do this in Call of Duty. This added a lot of replayability to the campaign, which is something that was lacking in prior campaigns in Call of Duty. With the two different timelines, it allowed players to see the technological advancements in the 2025 era of the Black Ops 2 campaign. For the time period, Black Ops 2's graphics were absolutely revolutionary for the time period. This allowed for players to be more immersed in the story because the game was even more visually pleasing than previous titles. Because they were able to tie up the story extremely well for going on for 40 years, which made the player feel even more connected, and the revenge part for David Mason also played a major part in why the story was so successful and so damn good. The Black Ops 2 Zombies has some of the most iconic zombie maps of all time. For example, Transit. Transit is one of the more innovative maps of the time, combining several smaller maps into one large interconnected area. Players could travel between different zones via a bus, making it a very unique zombies map and one of the most iconic in the Black Ops series. Probably my favorite zombies map of all time, Alcatraz or Mob of the Dead. I'm not a huge zombies player, but Mob of the Dead is one of the first memories I have playing Black Ops 2 Zombies. The map was set in Alcatraz prison, which gave it such a cool atmosphere with a great storyline involving mobsters trying to escape the island. With the Mob of the Dead DLC, an upgraded version of the original ray gun featuring a 3-round burst firing mode and improved damage, Black Ops 2's multiplayer. One of the best multiplayers that... Wait, no. No! 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 Oh, it's over. Oh, no! No! But seriously, Black Ops 2 multiplayer is a top 3 multiplayer without a doubt in Call of Duty history for a number of reasons. Just like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 has amazing 3-lane maps with maps such as Nuketown, Standoff, Slums, Raid, Hijacked, Express, Plaza. I could go on and on and on. In my opinion, this is the best set of maps in a single Call of Duty. The maps were just amazing for not just pubs, but also for competitive Call of Duty. Some of the maps came back in Call of Duty Cold War for competitive. That just shows how good those maps really are, man. Raid and Express, Standoff came back in the rotation for competitive Call of Duty. I haven't even mentioned all of the other good maps. Black Ops 2 Remastered 2025, but it'll be different if the leaks are true. The post-launch content for the game was incredible as well, giving us some of the best DLC maps of all time. Magma, controversial maybe, Grind, Studio, Rush, and arguably the best DLC gun of all time, the Peacemaker, just behind the Ripper from Call of Duty Ghosts in my opinion. The camos that came out in the store post-launch were amazing as well, and guess how much they were back in the day? They were only $2. Now these camos would probably be around $15, which is just crazy to think about. We used to get fire camos for snack money, but back in the day, but now we're having to skip dinner for a camo on the new CODs. Black Ops 2 was the first introduction to the Perk 10 system. The Perk 10 system gives players a much more customizable class, allowing for them to tailor their class towards their playstyle, or if they want to change it up for a game, they can. This made the game feel far less repetitive, as you could have multiple perks if you wanted. If you wanted multiple attachments, you could. If you wanted multiple lethals or tacticals, you could, but it would all come at a cost. You can't just have multiple lethals, multiple attachments, and multiple perks on one class. You have to choose one or the other, which is such a W, and it's so good for balancing a game. The perk 10 system resulted in one of the most balanced experiences we've ever received in Call of Duty, and I will never understand why it's not stable in Call of Duty. I just don't understand it, man. It's a shame Sledgehammer weren't allowed to give the people the perk 10 system again in Modern Warfare 3 because Infinity Ward said no. They're absolutely horrible. Hope they stop making Call of Duty games, I beg. It will not be making a return for Black Ops 6, but hopefully in 2025 we can see a return to the best created class system. It's not even close. A positive that is 100% overlooked in today's Call of Duties is the attachment system the older Call of Duties used to have. The attachments are super easy to understand, as it doesn't take a genius to understand what each attachment does. You wanted more range? Put on long barrel. You wanted to reload faster? Put on fast mag, which we don't even have in today's Call of Duty. That's insane to think about. You want to strafe left and right faster while aiming down sight? Put on a stock. You want to shoot through walls? Put on FMJ. It's easy, simple system. You get the point. As a nerd that plays COD a lot, I am able to understand the class setups in the new Call of Duty, but I can easily see how a new player could get overwhelmed because there are so many attachments that do so many positives and negatives to your gun. I'm not trying to complain about the new Call of Duties all the time in this video, but with all of these attachments, it's mostly the same thing. If you're looking for meta, you're just going to be putting on the same type of attachments on different guns. The gunsmith in today's Call of Duty is so bad compared to the Black Ops 2 / older COD systems. Gunplay in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was amazing, and it's for a number of reasons. I am not a believer that new CODs need a slide cancel to be successful. I'm a believer though of giving players fast aim down sight speeds, making SMGs feel like SMGs, making ARs feel like ARs. In Black Ops 2, you're able to strafe so fast left and right, which makes it harder for your enemy to land shots on you. The aim down sight speeds and sprint to fire speeds on SMGs are instant, and ARs feel like ARs as they should, with their mobility at close range being pretty mid. Which isn't the case anymore because the new CODs ARs have insane mobility. If you look at Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 version, they did it completely wrong. You can't have zero mobility in a boots on the ground game, which all of the classic CODs never had. The strafe speeds and aim down sight speeds created a skill gap that were completely missing in Modern Warfare 2. For a game that doesn't seem or look to have a lot of movement, it has plenty, and the drop shot was beautiful also. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is without a doubt one of the best Call of Duties ever made. From its fantastic campaign to its multiplayer, it is definitely up there with one of the best games ever made. The game allows for every type of playstyle because of how well balanced it is. I thought Black Ops 1 was well balanced. Black Ops 2 may be the most well balanced Call of Duty of all time. Quite literally, all SMGs and ARs are very usable in that game. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is without a doubt, in my opinion, the most complete Call of Duty of all time. Even if you think games like Modern Warfare 2, 2009 version of course, is the best Call of Duty of all time, you can't deny that Black Ops 2 is the most complete Call of Duty ever made. Call of Duty Black Ops 3, set in the year 2026, 4 decades after Black Ops 2, the game takes us into a world transformed by advanced technology. In this intense conflict, you'll navigate the battles between powerful factions and face the dark side of tech-driven warfare. The campaign explores the moral and ethical dilemmas of cybernetic enhancements and drone warfare, making you question the very nature of humanity. When playing the campaign, you'll go up against formidable human and robotic enemies across intricate, futuristic landscapes. The story builds up to a dramatic showdown with the Central Intelligence Unit, CIU, and a rogue AI named Corvus. It's a race against time to prevent a global catastrophe. Black Ops 3 ties up the long-running narrative of the series, enhancing your connection to the storyline, while Black Ops 2 focused more on David Mason's revenge arc. Black Ops 3 introduces new characters and their struggle against Corvus. Overall, the Black Ops 3 campaign lacked in many areas, and I never really felt connected to the characters like I did with the Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 series. I promise you, I definitely didn't have to do research for the Black Ops 3 campaign. I remembered everything about it. The Black Ops 3 campaign was super confusing, so if I didn't explain it right or what actually happened and what went on, my mistake. I completely forgot what went on in the Black Ops 3 campaign. I also thought the missions were not on the same level as the Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 games, and some of the voice lines, yeah, let's
Outcome? Train go boom.
yeah, let's forget about that voice line. Zombies, arguably the best zombies of all time. As a zombies casual player, Black Ops 3 Zombies was such a fun experience. Hopping on with the boys, playing Black Ops 3 Zombies is for sure up there with one of my favourite memories I have for Black Ops 3. If anyone remembers the old PlayStation communities on PlayStation 4, I used to always try and find people to play with on those communities. Good times. Why was Black Ops 3 Zombies so good though? Black Ops 3 Zombies is looked at the best because of its replayability, DLC, Easter eggs, not overwhelming to casual players like myself. The visuals and designs of the Zombies maps were so good. Black Ops 3 Zombies is the most replayable Zombies of all time because of the DLC maps that were introduced after launch, which is crazy to think about when you compare it to the newer CODs. Because with the newer CODs, when it's the next COD, they just die out. Zombies Chronicles brought 8 maps to Black Ops 3 and gave people nostalgic, classic Zombies maps. The post-launch support for Zombies was incredible, and that's a huge reason why the Zombies community still play it today. There's also a huge mod community for the game, which is a major win for those hardcore zombie players. People are still playing it to this day, and someone in my college still plays it to this day. Easter eggs and storylines also brought players back and wanting more. It added a lot of depth and excitement to the gameplay. Each map had Easter eggs which provided us players with plenty of things to do and to go for, some better than others for sure. Black Ops 3 introduced significant customization and progression features that were absent in earlier games. Players now could rank up and prestige in Zombies mode, adding a new layer of achievement and progress, customizing weapons with attachments, completing Zombies challenges, and unlocking calling cards, including Dark Ops challenges. Features gave players more reasons to keep playing, and that sense of accomplishment is something that we've been missing in Zombies for quite some time now. Black Ops 3 Zombies excelled because of its replayability thanks to maps and the DLC maps that got added to the game. The game isn't overwhelming to casual players and has a nice balance between complexity and accessibility. Gobblegums also made it more casual friendly, but it didn't make the game extremely easy. I also think them bringing Gobblegums back to Black Ops 6 is a major win. The Easter eggs in the game are some of the best we've ever gotten, which provided players with engaging content. Challenges for calling cards were also cool to go for because some of the calling cards were so cool to look at and to show off to your friends. Calling cards in older Call of Duties meant much more than today's Call of Duties. Everything that I mentioned, this is without a doubt one of the best and most memorable zombie experiences of all time. Black Ops 3's multiplayer.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Black Ops 3's multiplayer is the GOAT for me. Maybe that's a controversial opinion, but I couldn't care less. Black Ops 3 had so many things to do, such as going for level 1000, calling cards such as the nuked out calling card, which you could get if you went 30-0 in free-for-all, getting the gold outfit on your specialist after doing specific challenges for your specialist, prestiging your guns, earning crypto keys to get supply drops. Yes, I was reeled in. It was also the first Call of Duty that added a mastery camo into the game, and it is still arguably the best looking mastery camo to date. The movement. The advanced movement is the best we've ever seen in Call of Duty. Black Ops 3's movement will always be my favourite movement because of the cool plays and the cool ways that you can traverse a map While running on the outskirts of maps, trying to flank enemies was such a cool element that was in the game. Sorry to the pro player Kleister.
Fall off of
what's going on
Hunter,
there?
you can't really fall
That's
off.
a little crazy.
I've done you all the pleasure of pointing out every place where Kleister can fall off the map on this map because you expect it to.
If you wanted to play slow or play more boots on the ground Call of Duty, you could. Or if you wanted to be a crackhead, jumping around, jetpacking around, you could. You could do well with both playstyles, which in my opinion made Black Ops 3 good for everyone. I think Black Ops 3 was the perfect adjustment needed from the Advanced Warfare movement that we got. Advanced Warfare was a bit hectic and it felt a bit clunky at times, but Black Ops 3 tuned the movement down slightly and kind of nerfed the player for maybe jumping too much, which in my opinion was the perfect balance between boots on the ground and advanced movement. The maps in this game were just so good. Like I said, the wall run placements made sense and the aesthetic of the game was extremely beautiful to look at. No Treyarch have beautiful colors, but Black Ops 3 was just different for the vibrance. While on the topic of maps, look at some of the amazing DLC maps that they added. The DLC maps played very well, but the vibrance and creativity of these maps were just on another level. Maps like Splash, that was set in a water park, was such a beautiful map to look at. The colors were just so nice. The map Micro was one of the coolest maps in Call of Duty history, where you'd be playing on a lunch table filled with beer cans, soda cans, donuts, pizza boxes and more. Maybe not the best map, but the creativity was in full flow when making that map for sure. The score streaks in this game are without a doubt the best in this series, and I don't think it's debatable. The wraps, oh my gosh, talk about iconic. Wraith, VSAT, Sentry Gun, Talon, Power Core, which basically was an EMP, Guardian to hold down positions or bomb sites on Search and Destroy, Cerberus. You could literally pick the streaks for your skill level or how you wanted to play the game. If you were going for a nuke medal, for example, you could run UAV, counter UAV and Hater, or if you were just going for high kills, you could run Wraith, Wraps, Hater. All came down to how you wanted to play and what your playstyle was. Specialists are for sure controversial when it comes to Call of Duty, but I think Black Ops 3 is the best game that had them. This is how I look at the specialists in Black Ops 3. How I look at the specialists from Black Ops 3, you had an objective specialist, which was a non-lethal specialist, and then you had a Slayer specialist, which was a lethal specialist for each character. This made it suit different playstyles, and in my opinion, they were well balanced apart from Heatwave, which there was zero counter to. Different modes suited different specialists. For example, Search and Destroy, you would use a non-lethal character to have a chance of getting it in the game, because non-lethal ones, it was hard to get in Search and Destroy as they took longer to get, and the non-lethal specialists just worked better and were more useful in Search and Destroy. Overall, you can probably tell that Black Ops 3 is my favorite Call of Duty of all time because of how much I'm speaking it and how much I'm praising it, but I truly think that what I'm saying is valid. It had some of the best customization, some of the best maps, amazing to look at. The YouTube scene for multiplayer COD seemed to be at an all-time high, and the game just played and flowed phenomenally well. It also had a skill gap in it, the skill gap was pretty big, but like I said, casual players could still do very well. People will push it down on their list because the game's campaign wasn't the best, but I think the Zombies and multiplayer absolutely make up for a 4-hour campaign that most people only play once and will never play again. For the sake of the length of the video, I decided to stop there because I could have kept going on and on and on. I just gave out the main points that I loved about Black Ops 3's multiplayer. Black Ops 3 is the greatest Call of Duty of all time. The Black Ops 4 campaign, this is a banger. I completely lied, there is no campaign. There were these cutscenes in the Black Ops 4 game, but I'm not even going to get into them because it's a waste of time. And I never watched them. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies. The Black Ops 4 Zombies is definitely debated by a lot of people. A lot of people have mixed opinions on the Black Ops 4 Zombies mode. With the Black Ops 4 entry, players could choose from different classes with unique abilities and equipment, making it more tactical in their zombies approach. The perk system was also revamped to offer more customization and flexibility to players, allowing for them to tailor their loadouts to better fit their playstyles. Black Ops 4 zombie maps were very intricate environments. It's like IX, Ancient Evil, and Blood of Dead were praised for their level of detail and immersive environments. The maps were rich with secrets, Easter eggs, and complex design elements that encouraged exploration and replayability. However, maps like Dead of Night were criticized for their complexity and steep learning curve required to fully understand and enjoy them. This made them less accessible to casual players and newcomers to the zombies mode, which I am to zombies. At launch, the game faced various bugs and technical issues that impacted the gameplay experience. Some maps had balancing problems that affected how enjoyable they were. Some of the maps in the Black Ops 4 Zombies mode were definitely challenging and a bit unbalanced in my opinion. The zombies in Black Ops 4 introduced innovative mechanics like a class system and custom perks, and featured detailed immersive maps with unique themes. However, the mode faced criticism for its complexity and steep learning curve, initial bugs, and balance issues. Overall, while Black Ops 4 Zombies offered a fresh and ambitious experience, its reception was shaped by both its strengths and weaknesses. As a casual zombies player myself, I overall enjoyed Black Ops 4 Zombies, but I could definitely see why, to casual players, it was a bit tricky to get into. Blackout, Call of Duty's first attempt at a Battle Royale mode. Blackout was released with the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. This was Call of Duty trying to compete with Fortnite and PUBG, who were the two biggest Battle Royales at the time. The map from Blackout combined familiar locations from previous Black Ops games, which was nice for some of the older fans to see. This included POI such as Firing Range and Nuketown, and it is for sure the most vibrant Battle Royale map Call of Duty has released to date. The map was overall very good, as it allowed players to rotate from popular POI to popular POI, which was very good to get in gunfights and find people. That is something that Verdansk and Blackout did very well compared to the other maps that we've received. Blackout was very strategic on how you would play it because it was a classic Battle Royale experience unlike today's. If you die, you're fully dead and there's no way of coming back through the gulag or being brought back in by a teammate who is still alive. This made players play much more strategic, so finding the best loot was very important. The grapple in Black Ops 4 was one of the most fun things they had in the game. It allowed players to make crazy plays and get crazy clips. Hopefully one day it can make a return back into Warzone. Blackout had many negatives though. Blackout was never really updated and content was never really added to the mode, which made it suffer as it got old for players very quickly. Different levels of armor made it RNG in certain fights because if someone had a level 3 armor, it was almost impossible to kill if you didn't have one also. Grenades were extremely OP from day one, and you would literally get one hit by a grenade from so far away. It also wasn't free to play, which made it suffer in popularity because games like Fortnite was free to play. Overall, Blackout was a good first attempt at making a BR, and it's impressive to think that they only got a few months to make the BR mode. That's why there was no campaign. I think if they updated it, had Warzone 1's looting system instead of the fully RNG system, and it was free to play, I fully believe it could have been successful. I never played Blackout that much, but I do regret not giving the mode more of a chance. Black Ops 4's Multiplayer. Black Ops 4's Multiplayer was a hit and miss for a lot of people. Black Ops 4 was the first game that introduced a slide cancellation. It's not the traditional slide cancel you see nowadays, but if you slide and aim down your sight, it stops the sliding animation. The Black Ops 4 game introduced stims. This was very unique because before this, it was just a health that would regen automatically, but with Call of Duty Black Ops 4, you would have to press a button on your controller to manually heal up. A lot of players didn't like this, but personally I loved it, as it didn't mean you had to slow down to get your health back. If you took damage from an opponent, you could get behind cover and stim and immediately challenge them back into a gunfight. This also created a bit of a skill gap in my opinion. The TTK in Black Ops 4 is the longest TTK in Call of Duty history, and it was debated by many people on whether they liked it or disliked it. A lot of people liked it as 1v1 gunfights came down to raw skill than, getting a lucky shot, which a lot of people liked, but some others thought it was too long and it resulted in getting less multi-kills because the TTK was so long. For competitive players, this resulted in a lot of stacking. Black Ops 4 was the first and only Call of Duty that had the same type of attachment but a second variation of it. This allowed for greater customization on players' guns and would either have to sacrifice their perks for attachments, or if they wanted more perks, it would mean that they would have to have less attachments. The beauty of the perk 10 system. Treyarch, if you're watching, please bring it back. The camos in this game are some of the best in Call of Duty history in my opinion. Yes, a lot of them were in the supply drops, which made it hard to get them, but the camos were just beautiful to look at. This was the first Call of Duty that would change your camo when you would get a kill, which was a super cool feature that they added. And it was the first Call of Duty that had death effects when you kill enemies, which was also a unique feature. Overall, the maps were very solid in this game. You had maps such as Arsenal, Hacienda, Payload, and Seaside. I wouldn't say there was any S tier original maps in the game, but the maps were very solid overall in my opinion. There wasn't really a map I personally hated in the game. Some people don't like remakes, but I thought the remakes that were in Call of Duty Black Ops 4 were very good and played very well. I thought that Slums, Summit, Firing Range, Nuketown, Jungle and Grind all played very well in public matches and competitive. Overall, Black Ops 4 is a controversial game because Treyarch went outside the box when making this game, with adding stims to the game, the camos they added, the TTK, and much more. Having no campaign at all was a bit of a letdown, but it was replaced with Blackout, which was a good battle royale, which was lacking in some areas. The multiplayer was fun to play, but without a doubt, in my opinion, it is the sweatiest Call of Duty I've ever played. The specials in this game weren't great, but the man that designed and thought that Torque's barricade was a good idea, yeah bro, you gotta sit in a lonely room because that was the worst thing to play against. And also people that use Torque's barricade with the razor wire, what are you doing, man? I honestly think that this game could have been even better without the specialists in my opinion. In my opinion, from the zombies to Blackout to the multiplayer, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was a solid entry into the franchise, but it wasn't as good as the games that came before it. Call of Duty Cold War's campaign. Call of Duty Cold War's campaign only has 8 real missions, but you have to factor in when this game was made. Treyarch took development of this game very late on, and the actors had to do motion capture at their houses because of a certain virus. This virus limited them to what they could do. Anyway, let's get back on track. The American government, in an effort to deter Soviet aggression, placed nuclear bombs in strategic locations across Europe. These bombs were meant as a last resort measure in the event of a full-scale Soviet invasion. A bomb was taken over by a man named Perseus. You can only imagine what happens next. Perseus was able to take control of all of the bombs that were placed in Europe. Of course he was. Perseus plans to detonate these bombs to create chaos, destroy NATO, and discredit the United States globally. The game features multiple endings based on the player's choice. The outcomes range from successfully stopping Perseus and preventing the nuclear catastrophe to failing and facing the dire consequences of a world altered by nuclear war. So basically the main goal of the campaign is to track down and stop Perseus from detonating these bombs and blaming it on US. The variety of how the missions played were great. These missions were stealth missions and straight guns blazing. Given the circumstances, I think that the Call of Duty campaign was great. You have to factor in when it was made during the 2020 time, and they took the game late into its development. I think Treyarch did a very good job of making this campaign. Call of Duty Cold War Zombies. The game came back with its traditional round-based formula. The game allowed for players for the first time to start with customized loadouts, choosing their starting weapons and equipment rather than relying on what they could find in the game. The core gameplay loop of surviving waves of zombies, unlocking areas, and upgrading weapons remained largely unchanged. While there were tweaks and enhancements, the fundamental experience was consistent with past games. Zombies introduced axe filling. Players now had the option to escape from the map at certain rounds, with a helicopter coming in. Call of Duty Cold War Zombies brought several new features and improvements. Some players and critics considered it to be less revolutionary compared to previous iterations. Overall though, most players thought the mode was great, but a bit too easy, especially for the hardcore player. Overall, Cold War Zombies was a great and respectable entry into the series, and as a casual player myself, going from multiplayer to zombies was nice and relaxing. I didn't have to sweat like I would on multiplayer. Call of Duty Cold War Multiplayer. Cold War, as we knew, was made within a short time, so the game didn't release with a lot of maps. It only released with 8 multiplayer maps at launch, but more was added in future updates. Some classic maps were added, such as Raid, Express, Summit, and Standoff. Those 4 right there are some of the best Call of Duty maps ever made, so it helped out the multiplayer side of things and the competitive side of things. The content that they released was great and it was very consistent. They also released miniguns with updates, which kept the game fresh and also helped out with the Warzone side of things. At launch, the game actually came with a lot of weapons, which was great. The game launched with 33 weapons, 7 ARs, 6 SMGs, 3 LMGs, 3 snipers, 2 shotguns, 2 marksman rifles, 2 pistols, and 2 shotguns. This was a decent number of weapons at launch, and they later added more in future updates. The movement in this game was slightly slower than Modern Warfare 2019, which gave it a good balance and it helped out casual players. The slide cancel was still there, and you could outmaneuver and outplay people still, but it was dimmed down compared to the 2019 slide cancel. I'll be honest, taking notes on Cold War was difficult as I was playing Warzone during that time period and put multiplayer in the background. I would say though, the Cold War era in Warzone is my favourite era in Warzone because you had the most iconic guns from the Cold War era. The MAC-10, the FFAR, Bullfrog, M16, AUG, Pellington, LC-10, XM4, Krieg, Farret, and so on. The guns felt so good in Warzone. Call of Duty Cold War got better with more updates as more guns and maps were added. It's a bit like Call of Duty World War II in a way, because Cold War also got better after launch, which makes sense with it going back to normal more in 2021 and them having more time to work on the game. Overall though, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was a solid and respectable addition to the franchise, but of course was lacking in a few areas such as bugs, stability in the servers, frame dropping, and it was a downgrade from the stunning Modern Warfare 2019 game. But that is something that Infinity Ward does excel in. I'll give them credit for that. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is the worst Black Ops game ever made, but it's still a solid game, and that just shows you how good Treyarch are as a studio. So in today's video, we went over all the Call of Duty Black Ops games made by Treyarch: Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, and Call of Duty Cold War. I went over the campaign, the zombies, and the multiplayer, showcasing why each game is great and why the Black Ops series is so special. If there's one thing that I hope you took away from this video, have hope for Black Ops 6. Treyarch are getting 3 years to make Black Ops 6 and they've never missed. Even Cold War, where they got like 9 months to make the game, that was a solid game overall. And also, another thing that I hope you've learned from this video, Treyarch are the most innovative Call of Duty studio and they are the best developing studio in Call of Duty right now, by far. It's going to be very interesting to see how this new movement works with the new game, and hopefully the maps and the zombies and the campaign are very good. I have my full faith in this next Call of Duty. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you're new here, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment if you have faith for Black Ops 6. This video took about 24 hours to like 30 hours of editing. I do all the editing myself and do all the thumbnails myself, so if you could please show me some love by just simply leaving a like or subscribing. Maybe leave a dislike if you dislike this video. But yeah guys, I will see you in the next one. I don't know what my next video is going to be, but I will be releasing another one very soon. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Peace.